Coming up tonight, Gamecock baseball is dominating the opening week.
Later, Gamecock women's basketball survives in overtime.
And finally, the Carolina Hurricanes are heating up.
These stories and more on Palmetto State Sports.
From the Blue Ridge Mountains and through the Midlands down to the coast, there's plenty of sports highlights and moments here in South Carolina. There's only one place where you'll catch all the action. This is Palmetto State Sports.
Welcome to Palmetto State Sports. I'm Amanda Baranowski.
And I'm Violet Raftery. Thank you for joining us tonight. Gamecock baseball is back and in full swing after a clean 3-game sweep against UMass Lowell this past weekend. Pitcher Jack Mahoney excelled on Sunday with 9 strikeouts, only allowing 5 hits along with no runs or walks. This is an incredible feat for the junior, who has not been on the mound since May of 2021.
Outstanding performances from Gavin Casas, Cole Messina, and Ethan Petrie lead the Gamecocks to 49 runs in 3 games. The Gamecocks also shined against Winthrop last night, taking the game 19-3, including a grand slam from Messina. South Carolina looks to continue their win streak after a win yesterday against Queens University and a matchup against Penn this Friday at Founders Park at 4 p.m.
And Gamecock men's basketball fell in overtime to second-ranked Alabama last night by a score of 78-76. Carolina had the Crimson Tide on the ropes for the majority of the game.
Gigi Jackson led the Gamecocks with 19 points, and both Michi Johnson and Jacoby Wright had 18 points in the close loss. The main issue the Gamecocks faced was their inability to stop phenom freshman Brandon Miller. Miller had a career-high 41 points on 56% shooting, and he even brought down 8 rebounds to go with it.
And for South Carolina, the progress was there, but the final score hit hard. Here's what head coach Lamont Paris had to say after the game.
Wanted it really bad for those guys. We've talked about this before. Just you're doing all these things well. You're making all this improvement. Says who? Says the scoreboard. Says the win-loss record. So it can be hard for those guys to see that. And obviously they're making a lot of progress in the way that they played today. So. Was happy about that, but just felt there was a knot in my stomach for those guys.
The Gamecocks have been looking a lot more competitive as of late, and they will travel to Knoxville on Saturday to take on the Tennessee Volunteers at 6 p.m.
Weekend success was found for the Gamecock softball team as they reached their 8th straight win after a victory against Campbell University Sunday afternoon. Their performance on defense has been a large part to their weekend wins.
The Gamecocks held the Lady Camels to only 1 run on Sunday, that run being scored in the first inning. On offense, the Gamecocks had 2 RBIs coming from Jordan Fabian and Emma Sellers, and the final score ended 2-1.
This performance on defense has allowed South Carolina to only allow 5 runs scored in 4 games. Pitcher Donnie Goborn leads the team with 18 strikeouts with just 2 games of playing time. This is just 2 less strikeouts than the total number of strikeouts opponents have had playing South Carolina this season.
In other news, Gamecock women's basketball remains undefeated with an overtime win against Ole Miss on Sunday. Throughout the entirety of the game, Ole Miss kept South Carolina in a single-digit deficit. In the last 7 minutes of the game, they closed that deficit with a tie to force overtime with a score of 55-55.
Zia Cook and Aaliyah Boston captained the team to victory, securing 9 combined points in overtime. Ole Miss was held to just 2 points in overtime. Zia Cook also continued to pour on points, scoring 24 points in the win.
The final score of the game was 64-57, continuing their 27-game winning streak this season. The team looks for another win at Tennessee right now as the game started at 7.
I know I'm excited for the game. I know they're trying so hard to keep that winning streak alive, and I really hope they keep it alive tonight.
I hope they do. It would be really fun to see them just bring that through the whole regular season between tonight and Sunday.
Yeah, definitely.
Coming up, SGTV News 4 sports reporter Spencer Ball will be breaking down the recent hot streak the Carolina Hurricanes have been on. Stay tuned.
The Carolina Hurricanes are heating up on the ice with the NHL playoffs coming in just around 2 months. The Hurricanes are 13-1-1 in their last 15 games, and they hold the second best record in the entire NHL. Sebastian Aho has 11 goals in their last 11 games, and he leads the team with 25 goals on the year. The Hurricanes have made the playoffs in 4 straight seasons, but have not been able to make the push to the Stanley Cup Finals since they won it all in 2006. The Canes' biggest competition is likely going to be the Boston Bruins, who are having a remarkable year. They're the best team in the league at the moment and show no signs of stopping. If these two teams continue their winning ways, they would meet in likely an epic Eastern Conference Final Series. Up next, SGTV News 4 sports reporter Dakota Morris has all you need to know about Gamecock track and golf.
The Gamecock track team left campus yesterday morning to head to Arkansas, where they will compete in the 2023 SEC Indoor Championships. The Gamecocks are coming off a strong appearance in the USC Indoor Open, the final meet of the 2023 season, where they collected 12 wins and multiple personal bests. The men's team collected 5 wins on the track and 1 on the field, where the women's team had 4 wins on the track and 2 on the field. Head coach Curtis Fry was very pleased with the Gamecocks' performance this past weekend and is now turning his attention to the championships. Fry says, quote, "Now it's time for us to practice hard and turn our attention to the final exam, the SEC Indoor Championship. This is the best indoor meet in the country, and I know we're excited to showcase our team in Arkansas next week," end quote. You know, the track team is coming off a high, not just this last appearance, but the whole season. I'd really like to see them carry that over into the championships.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really fun to watch. A team's shown a lot of promise all year. I think they'll be competitive.
I agree. The Gamecocks women golf team will be hosting the annual Darius Rucker Intercollegiate Golf Tournament starting on Monday. This tournament is considered one of the most prestigious tournaments in the women's golf world. The tournament attracts top-ranked players and teams from around the country to Long Cove Club in Hilton Head Island. The prestige of the event even captures the attention of the Golf Channel, where it will be televised for the 2nd year in a row, making it the only women's college golf event to be aired on the channel. The tournament will kick off with a Sunday night performance from Darius Rucker himself, with the official start to the tournament beginning on Monday morning. The tournament will conclude on Wednesday. Stay tuned for the Palmetto State calendar.
Before we go, let's take a look at the Palmetto State calendar. Starting off with women's basketball, the Gamecocks are facing the Volunteers right now on ESPN. They will then return home to host Georgia on Sunday for a noon tip-off.
Clemson is hosting Virginia in a game that just tipped off at 7, and on Sunday they host Florida State for a 2 p.m. tip-off. Coastal Carolina will host Old Dominion on Friday for a 6 p.m. tip-off.
Moving on to men's basketball, the Gamecocks will travel to Tennessee on Sunday for a 6 p.m. tip-off, and Tuesday they head to Mississippi for a 9 p.m. tip-off.
Clemson travels to NC State on Saturday for a noon tip-off. On Tuesday, they continue their road trip to play Virginia for a 7 p.m. tip-off.
And Coastal Carolina is headed to Troy University tomorrow for a 7 p.m. tip-off.
Now on to softball. The Gamecocks are headed to the Mercer Bear Invitational in Georgia for the rest of the weekend. On Friday, they play Jacksonville at 4 p.m. and then face Mercer for a 6 p.m. game. Moving on to Saturday, the Gamecocks host Tennessee at 6:30 p.m. and on Sunday, they host Belmont at 11 a.m. After that event wraps up, they host Stetson on Tuesday for a 6 p.m. first pitch.
And Clemson softball is headed to the USF tournament in Tampa. Their first game is against USF and taking place right now. They then play UIC Friday at 12:30 p.m. On Saturday, they play Michigan State at 9 a.m. and Tennessee at 11:30 a.m. And they'll play Michigan State again on Sunday at 9 a.m.
Coastal Carolina is hosting the Chanticleer Showdown. The start with the University of Albany on Friday at 2:30 p.m., then St. Joseph's University on Saturday at 3:30 p.m., and lastly, the University of Albany again at 6 p.m. on Saturday. Finally, they host Mount St. Mary's for a doubleheader starting at 11:30 a.m.
Lastly, looking at baseball, the Gamecocks host UPenn in a 3-game series this weekend. They play on Friday at 4 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m., and Sunday at 1:30 p.m. On Tuesday, they host NC at 4 p.m.
Clemson baseball hosts UCF in a 3-game series this weekend. On Friday, they play at 4 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m., and Sunday at 1 p.m. On Tuesday, they host USC Upstate at 4 p.m.
And Coastal Carolina hosts Creighton in a 3-game series this weekend. On Friday, they play at 4 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m., and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. And then on Tuesday, they travel to Charleston to play at 4 p.m.
That's all we have for this week of Palmetto State Sports.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SGTV Sports, and to keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV News 4 Sports, I'm Violet Raftery.
And I'm Amanda Baranowski. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night, Carolina. Forever to thee.